Hello and welcome to On the Bench, the fortnightly podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers. Available on iTunes, Stitcher, and all good podcast apps. While you're there, don't forget to mark us as your favourite so that you never miss a show. On this episode on the Bench, we're going to be looking at how our hobby is helping returned veterans who are suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder. Also, we're going to be looking and talking about the gentleman modeler. It's a concept about how we can be better people when we're mixing amongst groups online and also socially as well. Of course, we've got our usual what's new in the modelling world, and we've got a little bit of mail which I'm going to be reading out as well. Fine Scale Modeler is proud to be the official supporter of On the Bench. Fine Scale Modeler is one of the world's most recognised and leading modelling magazines and is currently celebrating 35 years. Fine Scale Modeler magazine can be found in all good newsagents or wherever you purchase your magazines. Alternatively, you can go directly to their website www.finescale.com and subscribe to get the magazine home delivered, as well as that, access to the digital edition. Thank you to our new Patreon supporter, Mark Medwell. If you would like to support this podcast, you can do so by going to www.patreon.com/onthebench and pledge any amount from $1 upwards. Your contributions will help cover our operating costs and are greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's get right on with the show. Hello and welcome to Ian and to Julian. G'day guys.
Hello. G'day Dave, g'day listeners.
How you guys been? Good?
Fantastic.
Very good.
It seems ages since the last episode.
Well, it has been longer than before.
Well, we're recording on a Saturday, so we're about 4 days late because I got sent up to Queensland for work. But it just, I don't know, it just seems really, really long since we're all together in the studio.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So what have you guys been up to? Let's start with you, Ian.
Actually, to be honest, I've been a bit slack. I've done not really much to the Japanese carrier.
Yeah.
Just working on the little observation posts. There's 3 little observation posts scattered around the carrier.
Yep.
So I've just been working on them, getting the little 1 to 350 scale Japanese sailors painted up.
Have you started painting them?
Yeah, because I'm putting about 2 or 3 in each observation point.
Yes.
Along with their binoculars, and so at least there'll be some, when you look inside the little windows there, you'll be able to see a couple of guys.
How you going with the painting of them, all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no dramas?
Nah, they're too small. They're tiny. They're about 3 mil high.
Yeah.
They're not very big figures, so you don't have to go too crazy with detail.
Oh, jeez.
And I'm going to have about 300 figures to paint all up.
300?
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to be so busy doing that.
Oh, yeah. But it'll be fun.
Doesn't sound like fun.
Oh, yeah. But no, it's, I did a bit more research on it. Found out the correct colour for the Shikaku's H-Evals.
So what is the correct colour?
The correct colour is Japanese I3, which is Tsuchi-iro.
So, I believe the T is silent.
Oh, okay. Tsuchi-iro then.
Yeah.
Which is brown.
It looks like a browny sort of khaki. Sort of
so
strange looking colour.
Like every time I think of H-Evals, I think of them being painted the same sort of that grey-green colour that the Zeros were, but these are brown.
So where can you get the paint from to do that?
I'll have to match it.
Oh,
no one I know makes that paint.
Oh, okay. So you're going to match it by eye. You get a colour swatch there?
Yeah, I've got a colour swatch, so I'll match it by eye.
Where'd you get the colour swatch from?
Robert Madden put me onto a website. I can't remember, some guy's blog. And
Aviation of Japan.
Aviation Japan, that's the one, and guys, a plethora of information.
That's the one here Robert was talking about when we had him on the show about Japanese aircraft. Yeah,
and if you're interested in learning a bit more about the Japanese aircraft and colours, I'd highly recommend this site. The guy really does his research and does his homework. It's fantastic, and there's just so much information that I never knew.
Cool. Excellent. Julian, what have you been up to?
Quite a bit. I mean, putting a lot of hours into the P38.
Oh, I've got some listener mail about the P38.
All right, yep.
Do you want me to go ahead and do that now?
Oh, yeah, why don't you go ahead and do that now so I know how much I got wrong?
No. It was actually me that they were correcting. So John McAvoy and Mike Smith both wrote in and said that the front wheel's actually a caster wheel.
Yes,
so,
I have since found that out.
Oh, you have you? So, so you don't need to worry about having the... well, it's not a joystick, it was a yoke that they use in the P38. Yep. You don't need to have that sort of turned because it's just via the engines.
Well, that wouldn't be turned anyway. It'd be the pedals, if anything.
Yes, right? Yes, absolutely, yes.
It only occurred to me after I actually glued it in and someone pointed it out and they're like, oh, that makes so much sense. Wouldn't that occur to me? So, I made that mistake. Yeah. It wasn't much to just clip it off and glue it back on.
No,
correctly. So it doesn't actually. If you actually go and try to look it up, it doesn't say it anywhere that the front wheel's caster.
Yep.
Right. I just ended up having to go look for some walk around photos.
Yep.
And when you see it up close, you can clearly see the two little gas strut type things that sort of help it point forward, and they're mounted just above the scissor links. On the front, on the nose gear leg,
There you go.
So I had to. So I did modify it. I did cut it.
Yep.
And rotate it.
Yep.
Yeah. If I was going to do it again, mind you, I would actually extend the oleo, because when you look at a lot of the photos from the era of them sitting on the ground, they'll have the nose pointed very high up, and the oleo very much extended. It's quite a distinctive look to have like the tail hanging very close to the ground.
So how much have you got the correct amount of sort of weight in the nose to make sure it's not a tail setter?
Yeah. I overkilled that, but not enough to like break anything. It's fine. It's not gonna collapse on itself.
There's nothing worse than putting weight in there and all of a sudden, this is great, and then gluing everything together and then putting it on the bench and watching it just go book on the tail.
That's why those white metal aftermarket stuff's really good for that.
Oh, the undercarriage legs.
Yeah. Awesome.
Depending what brand you get, some of them are a bit ordinary.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the Scale Aircraft Conversion brand?
Oh, can't remember which one.
Because I think they make like white metal gear legs for every kit under the sun, because they just take the plastic gear legs and make metal versions of them.
Molds of them and cast them.
Now, John, you've also brought in a model that you've purchased from Gas Patch Models. I didn't realise that Gas Patch are actually doing models now.
Yeah, this is their second one.
Yeah.
What was their first one?
It was the...
Samson,
yes. The World War I bomber, twin-seat bomber. The Wingnut Wings did a 32 scale one. Ugly aircraft.
So this one that you've brought in is the Henschel HS123B1 model.
Yes. It is a very nice kit,
to
say the least. I mean, if you ever built an Eduard Profipack model where it comes with photo etch and it comes with canopy masks.
Yep.
This is like that taken to yet another degree. So they give you a cardboard jig so that you can get the gear leg, the landing gear spats at the correct angle.
Yeah.
And they give you jigs for to wrap photo etch around, and they give you has color instruction booklet similar to Wingnut Wings. It's really, really phenomenal. Five schemes in the box.
Isn't one of them for Adolf Galland?
Yep,
his early years?
Yep, they put that on the cover. I'll be doing that one because it's the sexiest scheme in my opinion.
I reckon there's some better ones.
Really? Because how you look at, you get one white scheme, then you get three of them that are all just one colour of green.
Yeah, but they've got the infantry assault badge on them, which I reckon looks great on German aircraft.
Really?
But I just love the packaging, the box it comes in to start with. So it's one of those boxes that sort of opens up and lifts up, and the box is quite solid. It's got this sort of beautiful yellow that goes all around the box, and you've got this lovely box art of the aircraft in front of it.
Yeah, it's quite nice sort of design.
But what really blew me away was the instruction manual. It's just like Wingnut Wings style.
Yeah,
Really.
So it's all coloured CAD, and the parts are colour coded, so you know which parts are moving into where. And other things that it's got like photo etch for the actuators for trim tabs and things like that. If I had to say anything bad about this kit, it would be that there's no safety net. So when you buy like a regular kit and you opt in for all the extra detail that you've bought with aftermarket.
Yep.
Right? You can always, if you chicken out, you can always go, I'll just use the kit parts rather than this other thing that I've bought that's resin or photo etch or whatever. But in this kit, the base kit is already advanced enough that there's nowhere for you to go.
Yeah.
You have to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've got to say, just on the strength of looking at this particular kit, I mean, if that's what Gas Patch are going to be producing moving forward in the future, that's a really exciting time, I think.
And their accessories are fantastic.
Oh, of course,
I've got their turnbuckles, which I've got a few sets of.
And you got a few other things that they have done, haven't you?
I bought a heap of their stuff for me Wingnut Wings Albatross D5.
Yep.
The turnbuckles, the Spandau machine guns, which are marvellous, and they do a really, really nice airspeed indicator, multiple part, which is I think it's 3D printed.
Yeah,
it's absolute bits of brass.
Well, I also put you onto the Lewis gun that you used in your Model T.
Yeah, for Model T. Yeah, they do a 1/35 scale Lewis gun, and I thought that was beautiful. You get two in there, and they're beautifully made.
Beautiful, they really are. I mean, those kind of details really make something, I think.
They really, it really makes it jump out, yep.
Well, exciting times for Gas Patch models, so keep your eye open.
I'll tell you what, for a small Greek company, I reckon they do very well.
Is it Greek, is it?
Yep.
Seriously?
Yep.
Oh, well, there you go. You learn something every
some
day.
Very talented Greek modelers out there.
Yeah.
You may have noticed online.
I agree. Very much so.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so I would recommend this kit, having not built it, right? And I do intend to build it, hopefully, before June of next year, because I reckon this will make a perfect competition entry.
And sorry, the scale is?
48.
48 scale.
Yep. And just what was the cost of it? Can you remember?
I think around $80.
That's not
off the
bad.
top of my head. Don't quote me.
Yeah.
But I think it's about that.
But what you get, it's worth every penny.
Yeah.
So it'd be about 40 euros and maybe, 35, 40 pounds, something like that. Yep.
Yeah. And it's very early war.
Yeah.
So it is a biplane, but there's almost no rigging on it whatsoever. The only cables are for the actual lines that go up into the upper wings for the ailerons.
Beautiful looking kit. I can't wait to see you start building it into.
Yeah, no, I
let
want
us
to
know how it goes.
In fact, the only thing stopping me from starting it tomorrow or today
is the P38.
Well, aside from ignoring the fact that I've got all these open projects that I will be finishing before I start this, is that I don't actually have Mr. Paint for. Well, yeah, there's that. I don't actually have Mr. Paint color for RLM62.
Oh, that's early war, yeah. You need
RLM62 is a surprisingly difficult color to come by.
Mm-hmm.
But that wouldn't stop you building. You still got to start building it before you paint it anyway.
No, I suppose, but then you don't want to sit.
Well, you'd be like myself and have about 6 different projects on the go at once.
I do.
Yeah, but you run out of room.
I do.
You run out of room real quick.
Yeah, well, that's you sort of end up getting so far along, and you're like, this is as far as I can get before I can't put it back in the box. Because after that, it's like the point of no return. You got to push it all the way through to the end.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Fantastic, mate.
Well, what have I been doing? I've been busy with work, like I said, sort of up to Queensland with the fires up there. So I haven't really had a lot of time to be doing. I've ordered a lot of stuff.
Good on you.
I've got about 20 kits coming in, waiting to come in.
And they're all 1 to 144 scale?
They are. How did you know? So I've got a big order.
ESP, mate. ESP.
I've got a big order in with Hannants, which I'm waiting for that to land.
So did you order a bear?
I did. Yes.
Yeah. What about one of those big Antonovs?
No, I haven't ordered one of the Antonovs yet.
You're weak.
And I've come across another little company in Australia called the Mighty Ape.
Yeah, I've heard of Mighty Ape Hobbies.
Yeah, and they were selling some stuff really cheap, like F4 Phantoms for like $5. So I thought,
what brand?
Oh, I can't remember. I'll remember I'll know when it gets here. And I thought for $5 you can't go wrong, so I bought about
for $5 you can't go wrong.
So I bought 4 of them.
Hey, worst case scenario, you can make yourself a nice little mobile to hang off the ceiling.
Yeah, I thought that's exactly right. But what I have been doing is actually buying some books. So I've got 3 books that I've purchased, which I don't know when I'm going to get to read them. But the first one is The Battle of the Atlantic, How the Allies Won the War by Jonathan Dimbley. I'll just read the back of it. So the Battle of the Atlantic was the single most important and longest campaign of the Second World War. If Britain lost the vital supply route, it lost the war. In Jonathan Dibley's brilliant and dramatic new account, we see this epic struggle for maritime mastery played out through the politicians, the admirals, the men on and under the sea, and their families waiting at home. Filled with haunting and hair-raising stories of chases, ambushes, sinkings, stalkings, disasters and rescues, The Battle of the Atlantic is a monumental work of history as told as it was lived and fought.
So basically, it's a book about breaking the back of the U-boats.
Yeah.
And speaking of U-boats,
yes,
in Australia, I think it's next week it starts on SBS. So anyone who watches SBS is going to be the new series of Dust Boat.
Yes.
And I've seen some shorts to that, and it looks like they've really done a good job on that.
It does. And it's not a continuation of from the movie.
No, it's separate.
It's separate, yeah. So
it's got they've done a nice, well, I think it's a Type 7. Type 7B or C. No, it looks fantastic.
It looks great. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that
Short
series
Sunderlands, all sorts of aircraft. They've done their homework by the looks of it.
They have. The other book that I've bought, so I've got 3 here, is called Big Week by James Holland, and it's a story about the biggest air battle of World War II. And just reading the bio on the back. During the 3rd week of February 1944, the combined Allied air forces launched their first ever round-the-clock bomber offensive against Germany. The aim was to smash the main factories and production centres of the Luftwaffe and at the same time draw the German fighter force up into the air and into battle. Officially called Operation Argument, this monumental air assault very quickly became simply known as the Big Week. So it goes right into how the Allied Air Forces had a bit of a crisis. The first 6 months before the launch of this operation, the bomber war wasn't going as the Allies had planned.
Not at all.
But also, on the other side, the Luftwaffe was also in crisis with shortened supplies, fuel, and properly trained pilots. So that's quite a thick book of about 390-odd pages. So I'm looking forward to digging into that one. But the one that really grabbed my eye when I was in the bookshop was a book by David Isby called The Decisive Duel, Spitfire versus 109. And this is a fantastic book of about 540 pages. It tells the story of these 2 iconic and classic aircraft and also the people who created them. It's from Willy Messerschmitt, the German designer who loved gliders and also had an admiration for Hitler, onto R.J. Mitchell, his brilliant British counterpart who struggled against illness to complete the design of the Spitfire. So in fascinating detail, David Isby describes a crucial role the 2 opposed planes played from the drawing boards to Dunkirk, the Battle of Britain, and the final battles over Germany. But
didn't Reginald Mitchell die very soon after?
Yeah, he did.
He designed the Spitfire, yeah.
But also extends into the Cold War as well and talks about how the aircraft were used after World War II as well.
Oh, yeah, like the Avia 199s.
And I think the Israel Air Force sort of had some.
Yeah, they were the ones with the Buka, not the Bucon, the Junkers engines, the really ugly things.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is a really great book, and I've already had just a bit of selective reading at it already, and it reads really well, and it's not dry read. So, and also the author's quite interesting, David Isby, and I'll just read about the author. So, David has written and edited 26 books of military history and analysis, many on the Second World War aircraft and operations. He's a Washington-based attorney. Thank you. Attorney and consultant on national security issues, a former congressional staff member. He frequently appears in the media and has lectured at staff colleges and other institutions, an experienced pilot and a lifelong modeller, a veteran wargamer, and he can be visited at www.spitfireversusbf109.com. So I thought it was interesting that he's a modeller and sort of as well.
Yeah.
So
sounds like he has a lot of fun.
I don't know where he gets the time to do all this sort of stuff. He's written all those books and he's an attorney and a pilot. Jeez.
He'd be the life of the party, wouldn't he?
He would be.
Well, I mean, as amazing as that sounds, on the other hand, we're on a podcast.
Yep.
So we're a tenth of the way.
That's true. That's very
just
true.
Just a tenth.
All right. I think we'll have a very quick break there and we'll have a look at what's new in the modelling world. How's that sound, guys?
Sounds like
good.
a plan.
All right. Back very shortly. And we're back with what's new in the modelling world. And first of all, we're going to have a look at Tacom's new G35th scale Burge Panther, would you say? And
Burger.
Yeah.
And Yuck Panther.
Coming next month from Tacom. So, first of all, the Jag Panther G2 tank destroyer. Tacom are really pushing out some really great stuff in recent times, haven't they?
Oh, yeah.
And I, for one, have always loved the tank destroyers. I reckon they look pretty cool.
Yeah.
I've got a huge collection of German tank destroyers in my stash.
Oh, have you?
Oh, yeah, huge. Absolutely
Can I build any?
huge. I've built a few.
Tacom are also doing the
Berg Panther.
yeah, which we talked about, I think, when we first found out it was coming. So
They're a weird thing, really.
they are. So
It's
for those of you who don't know, it's,
wooden box instead of a turret.
it's actually an armoured recovery vehicle that was used by Germany during World War II and based on the chassis of the Panzer 5. But even that concept still goes through in the modern times now, where a lot of armies have recovery vehicles that are based on main battle tank chassis and that.
Yep.
So that'll make a really interesting subject, and it'll look really cool if you could even pose it in a diorama. Now, I'm not sure, we haven't got further information whether this is actually an open kit so you can actually look into the side of the model or in
I
in
would
the
say
interior.
so, because the whole top of that thing's open, so there's a lot of detail they'll be able to cram inside the top of that.
Right, okay.
A lot of detail.
We're looking now at the CAD drawings, and I think you're right, Ian. There's a lot of detail down inside, especially with the towing winches and everything.
Yep.
So that'd be really cool to sort of see that all made up, and I reckon it'd make a great, even standalone model, but certainly as part of a diorama.
Diorama, yes, correct.
Yeah, terrific. All right, the Hobby Boss. Let's have a look at what Hobby Boss are announcing for their December kits.
They're finally releasing the B24 in 32 scale.
It's going to be a monster. Here we go with all these large kits of bombers, and and even now on our Facebook page and in some of the mail we're getting in with people saying, they sort of agree with great kits, but where are we going to put them?
Yeah.
But I haven't had any. I haven't seen anything yet online about what this actually looks like in regards to a build. So I'll be keeping my
It's
eye
Hobby
open.
Boss. Apparently the engines are a bit ordinary.
Okay,
Yeah, they're like 72 scale detail.
right. So certainly aftermarket guys.
You're
will
going to
be-
have to spend a fair bit on the aftermarket.
All right.
I heard also there's a few inaccuracies, especially around the turret area,
Okay.
which from what I've read is Liberators are one of the most difficult aircraft to get right for modelers, because nearly every single one is slightly different to the next one.
Oh, seriously?
Yep.
Even though they're sort of rolling off production
Correct.
line.
Yep.
Okay.
I think everyone's seen that video where the propaganda footage of this is how we make 100 Liberators.
Yes. Yeah, 1 an hour, wasn't it?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
it sounds somewhat familiar, but it could be
It
sure.
comes with rubber tyres. I hate rubber tyres on aircraft.
They
So
look
the-
like inner tubes, don't they?
The length of the model is 675 millimeters, and the wingspan is a whopping 1,049
So it's over a metre.
meter wide. Where you gonna put it? 22 sprues, 540 parts count, etch parts 1. They're saying finely detailed cockpit and gear cabin. You're right about the grooved rubber tyres. It's good to see. It looks like that the landing gear is white metal.
Yeah, you need it for something that big.
So it'll be very interesting to see how that sort of builds out. And as you said, there's probably a lot of aftermarket companies going to jump on and fix up some of the issues.
Most definitely.
And seeing, I think it's the only 132nd scale Liberator in town.
Correct.
That's all you've got. So.
Yep.
Gee, imagine buying that thing, and then you have to go out and buy 4 or 5 bottles of Alclad.
I was thinking just buy a big litre tin. And then go to an automotive paint suppliers and buy a proper spray gun to apply it with. I don't think you're going to find an airbrush big enough to do something that big.
Yeah, you'll be there for a while, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Also from Hobby Boss, they've announced the German VK 3001P test tank.
Oh, yes, one where they're going to make the Tiger out of, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's certainly got a Tiger turret. It's this is 1/35th scale. It's a medium-sized tank prototype produced between 1940 and 41 in accordance with German military requirements. 2 prototype bodies were made. The tank never entered service, but it was developed into the VK 4501 Tiger, as we know it. So it's interesting looking tank because it looks very much like the Tiger turret that we're used to sort of seeing on a Tiger tank.
Tiger 1, yep.
But the body looks like something that Hollywood has made up as a pretend sort of Tiger.
Yeah, it looks like, to me, it looks like the Tiger tank from Saving Private Ryan.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah. So
the running gear on this one looks a lot like the Ferdinand.
Yeah. But you find the I think the Ferdinand and Elephant were based off one of the other prototypes.
No, this could be it.
Yeah.
may well be. The kit consists of over 400 parts. Photo etch parts are included. Individual track links, which is good. The length will be about 262 millimetres, and it'll be about 90 millimetres wide. So, yeah, that should be appeal to those of you who like the oddball sort of tanks.
Yep, definitely.
Next up from AK. AK have released a whole heap of new stuff, or announcing a whole heap of new stuff.
133 different colours.
Yeah, so their entire range of all-range colours, there's a single price for 133 paints.
Wow.
And that's €285.
Mm-hmm. So this is the real colour
the air
range.
The air range.
Yeah.
Real colour air. Oh, yeah, okay. When you say air, you don't mean like air brushable.
No,
It's
for aircraft, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the complete real colour air range to cover all your modelling needs. Get one or each of colour for a better price. The set includes, so this is an entire set, includes 133 colours of acrylic lacquer for aircraft. So, geez, I mean,
They've got some interesting colours in there.
Yeah.
well, 133 paints for €285. That doesn't seem like too bad a price if you're buying it in that sort of lot. It damn sight cheaper than sort of buying them individually.
I heard they're really nice paints to spray with too.
I've never sprayed them, so I wouldn't
And they
know.
dry within about 5 minutes.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they nearly touch dry out of the gun.
Also accompanying it, they've got a book, Real Colours for World War II for aircraft.
Which should go with their real colours of World War II for tanks and armour.
Yes, it's a limited number of copies, so there's a pre-order price of about €50 on that. And it's a great accompaniment to the actually purchasing the all the paints. Now, interestingly, I think that is this a separate book?
No, it's all the same.
All the same book.
Yep.
It's got a spiral spine, so you can actually lay it open and the pages sit flat,
Correct.
which I think is a great idea, especially when you're sort of sitting there, sort of reading it.
So, having looked at the armor version for the first lot of paints that they brought out,
Yep.
these books are actually pretty good. They got a lot of really nice photos
I had
of
a
the
look
actual
through one,
subjects.
and good diagrams, and they also got a bit on
Yeah.
the correct way of camouflaging and bringing tanks under cover. I thought that was an interesting way. How they said the right way of putting tanks into tree lines and the wrong way of putting tanks into tree lines. It's
so
quite interesting.
It's more than just what you would probably assume to be post sales advertisement or
Correct.
something.
Yes. An
not-
accompaniment.
Yeah, they actually do talk a lot about the colours and
Yep.
have lots of really good photos.
Mm.
Well, they're saying that this book is a must-have for anybody who even has a slight interest in World War II aircraft colours. So,
So I'll be spending more money, will I?
I'm afraid you will. From AK, they're releasing a calendar, 2019 calendar. Price is €3.5. I think it's quite a good idea. So
It's got nicely built models.
for just showing an example here, for March it has a modern day US sniper. For April it's got looks like a Jeep that's been converted
Ford
to
Mutt or something by the looks of it.
yeah. Nice motorcycle there for July. Looks like oh come on Dave, you should know your modern tanks.
It's a British tank, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Modern British tank.
Challenger.
Challenger.
Challenger 2.
Yep.
So that's not bad, €3.50 for a calendar. I think it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I
I'll
might
just
even-
stick with me Mopar calendars.
Yeah. You can put it up on your wall and it can remind you of how much progress you haven't done.
Yeah. See, the other thing they're also bringing out for the air colour range is they've got like World War II US colours, World War II German colours, World War II British colours,
Oh, yeah,
all
they
in
got-
box sets.
Little nice 4-pack box sets.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this other one they're showing is a World War II US aircraft interior colour set, which comes with 4 colours. This set
Yeah,
contains
bronze green, interior green, chromac, yellow.
4 colours that are indispensable for painting the cockpits and
And the
interiors.
dark dull green.
Yes.
Yeah. No cost on that one. Yes, there is. €9.8. So say let's call it €10. They've also done the early World War II colours, Luftwaffe colours. Oh, that might see. Is that the one you're looking for, Julian?
No, 02, 65, there you go.
There you
No,
go.
no. Not 65. I'm after 62.
62, yeah.
RLM
62 is the elusive one.
Yes.
No, sorry.
Not in that one. What about the bottom one? There's another one there. What's that one got?
That's
that's all
41
late
to
war.
44, so it's
Yeah,
a
that's all
later
late.
model.
Yep. So I know they've got 3 different versions of RLM 76 in their range.
Yeah. Look, I reckon it's a great idea, these companies putting these, packs of 4 in there and paints, and I reckon it's really awesome.
Yeah.
Yep. Can be, yep.
Just nice and easy and works really well. And you can just use them over and over again.
Yep.
Still not seeing the colour you're looking for, Julian, sorry.
No, well, my paint brand of preference, Mr. Paint, do have it. They just don't have it in stock here.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you just got to wait.
Yeah, I got to wait for them to actually. It's not even listed on like say B&A's website.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I think it's a fairly new color that they've added
Yep,
to their lineup.
Oh, cool.
So let's just run through the whole range that they're advertising as 4 colour sets. So they've got the US aircraft interior colour set, Luftwaffe early colours, set of 4 colours, Luftwaffe fighter colours 41 to 44, Luftwaffe late World War II colour set, Soviet fighter colours 43 to 45 in a set of 4. World War II IJN aircraft colour air set comes with 4 colours.
Yeah.
RAF day fighter scheme air set, which comes with what colours are Only 3.
3 colours.
So
Ocean
RAF
grey.
dark green, ocean grey, and medium sea grey. And US Navy and US Marine colours. Ooh, US Navy and US Marine colours.
50s to the 70s.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. That comes with dark sea green, light grey gull, insignia white, and field green. Aeronautica Militaire. This contains only 3 colours. Again, that's RAF dark green, dark earth, and RAF sky. And that's it from the news from AK. Italeri releases for December. First cab off the rank is we have a 1/9 scale Kumpelwagen.
Oh, Kugelwagen. That'd be a pretty decent size at 1/9 scale.
It would be a large one, actually. Imagine the detail you'd be able to whack into that.
Well, there's not really that much detail in those things to begin with.
No, well, that's right. But it comes with working suspension, openable top or open lid, highly detailed engine, highly detailed decal sheet, canvas roof and windows, working canvas roof.
Well, I wonder how they do that.
I have no idea. Rubber tyres and colour instruction sheets. I'd struggle to understand how you're going to do the canvas roof.
Oh,
Oh, there you go.
there
There
you
you go.
go. You get a canvas piece that you got to cut out. So you'd have working hinges.
Oh, that's good.
Well, for 1/9 scale, you'd probably be able to do that.
Yeah.
The problem I have with that, I mean, it's kind of like a piece of cloth with like the pattern like sort of drawn on it. Then you have to turn it inside out because otherwise you'll have these lines drawn on the outside of your
Yep.
on top of your canvas roof.
Yes.
You hope no one looks on the inside of it.
Oh, I'd imagine you have to sew that as well in some ways, or maybe glue
glue
it or
it.
something.
Probably glue it.
The thing is, though, even in that scale, the canvas is still going to look out of scale. And I know from the guys who do wooden ships, and they do the sails on that, yeah. And some of the ways they get around that is to sort of add some realism to it, is they'll actually get those canvas sails, I should say, and they'll put them through what they call a tea wash.
Yes.
So you get some tea like Lipton's tea or some black tea, and just put, and it sort of ages the actual sail. Yeah. So imagine you could do something similar with this. Looks like there's plenty of cloth there, so you can cut a piece off and just experiment on it. So that'd be something I'd be recommending that you do.
Yep. Decent looking kit though.
It is, and as you said, it's going to be quite a large kit when it's put together. Righty-go. Next up from Italeri is the Tornado GR1 IDS Gulf War version in 1/148th scale. I'm wondering if this is a Reeboks or not. I'm not sure. Price of €29. The model dimensions are going to be about 39 centimetres in length, and it's got decals for the
couple of the pink ones.
Yeah, for the British RAF pink version, which used a desert pink sand colour, which I reckon is an interesting colour. Actually.
And when you see those ones in real life, the photos of them, geez, they were heavily weathered.
Oh, very dirty. Also, it comes with some decal sheets for the Saudi Arabian Royal Saudi Air Force.
Yep.
And the Italian Air Force, which was used in the Desert War also.
Yep, and German.
And German. Did Germans use them in the Desert War? I'm just trying to think now.
I have no idea.
I think they were...
It's going off the airbase.
Yeah.
Was it Mazar El Sharif Air Base?
Yes,
I'd
so
say
they
that
did.
was definitely used in the Gulf War.
Absolutely.
Part of the coalition.
So I got a really large decal sheet there with a choice of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different air forces. So
that would be a massive sheet. It's like A4.
And one of them's got shark's teeth.
So that keeps you happy, yeah?
Yes, you got to have shark's teeth.
All right, moving on. They're doing an SD KFZ 10 with German paratroops in 1/35th scale. Now, I'm wondering if this actually comes with the troops as well.
It's a bit strange, isn't it? Because you can't those vehicles are too big and heavy to paradrop into.
Yeah.
So
but
I'm not
you
sure.
got to realise that after Crete, Hitler forbade any more parachute drops with the Fallschirmjägers.
Because the losses were too heavy.
The losses were way too heavy.
Yeah, but it's
they
part
were
of the
always
way
just driven in or flown in, and
but it's part of the way they were jumping.
They were like elites.
They were.
And they had a really interesting parachute system where they had like a ring at the centre of the back. So rather than coming down vertically, you came down horizontally, so you could actually hold your weapon.
But they didn't jump with the weapons, though. This is the thing. They
design.
The weapons they didn't jump with the weapons. The weapons came down in separate containers, and so
you had to be below a certain height too to be a Fallschirmjäger.
Oh, did you really?
Yep.
You couldn't have tall ones.
No, there was the height restriction for those guys.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, I remember speaking to a fella and he says, "Yep, he wanted to be in the normal Wehrmacht, but he was too short, so they stuck him in the with the Fallschirmjägers."
Wow!
But they were some of the toughest troops.
So the SD KZF 10 was used by German troops in large numbers during Second World War on all the main fronts, from the invasion of Poland right through North Africa and Russia. It was designed and developed to be an effective prime mover for small-towed artillery, as anti-aircraft guns and also tanks.
And you get 4 figures with the kit.
Oh, there you go. So that'll make a nice little kit for those of you who are looking into that. And
German half-tracks.
Yeah. Italeri also announced the release of the Alfa Romeo Giulietta Spider.
I believe it's
Giulietta Spider 1300 in 1/24th scale. For those of you out there who like building car kits, I think this would have to be a must-have to have a Spider in your collection. Price is €30.
Please, Ian, contain your enthusiasm. Your enthusiasm for Italian cars is well documented on this podcast.
Well, let's say lack of enthusiasm. If it's not an Australian muscle car, I don't think Ian's
or
really
an American
interested.
muscle car.
Yeah. So this will make a really nice.
If it ain't got a V8, it ain't worth it.
This will make a really nice kit for you out there for you guys out there who like building cars. Next off from Italeri is the X-47B in 1/72nd scale.
The Navy drone aircraft, isn't it?
It is. This is the Northrop Grumman demonstrator unmanned combat air vehicle, the UCAV, especially designed and developed to operate from the flight decks of the US Navy carriers. First flew in 2011 and has done some operational tests in 2015.
I reckon they're a cool looking vehicle.
They are. It was used.
Looks like something out of a 1980s computer game.
It was used in the test cycles, excuse me, aboard the USS aircraft carrier George H.W. Bush, and it performed takeoff, landing, and air refueling duties. So it's a great little aircraft, or great little UCAV, and it's certainly something I think belongs in the collection, because we're going to be seeing more of these as we move into the future.
Well, that's where they're going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Give it another 10 years, there'll be most of the air forces will probably be drone aircraft.
Well, if not, there'll be swarms that are attached to the sort of lead aircraft, and you'll have a couple of drone aircraft that are flying.
You just see me going back to like the 1920s where they have like the bombers with their little parasite aircraft.
Yeah, exactly right.
Have a few of them and just drop them off.
Italy announcing a Soviet T-35/85 tank in 1/35th scale. This is a reboxing, I'm 99% sure.
I believe this is their new kit.
Oh, this is their new kit, is it? Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, completely new. Sorry, Julian.
But haven't you found that the T-34 is in the modelling world is becoming like the BF-109?
No, actually,
there's new kits coming out left, right, and centre.
I actually would disagree with that.
Okay.
Because like if you actually are in the market for a T-34,
yep,
there are a lot of really terrible kits that are floating around from, like, say, Zvezda and the old artillery kits, and then you've got like the Dragon kit, which is still one of the better ones.
Yeah, I got one of them.
Yep, and now this one, and then you've got like that that terrible one that I bought from AFV Club that has the suspension that decides to disassemble itself because they gave you springs that were too strong. You know, there's like when you actually get down to it, there's not too many good kits. There's a lot of terrible options, and so
I found that spring thing that worked exactly the same when Dragon did it with their Super Sherman, the M51. Trying to put that suspension together, and like you put it in there, you go to put it in place, and the next day you just go ping, and there's like 4 bits that just go in 4 different directions.
Oh, jeez.
So you spend half the time on the floor trying to pick up the pieces and put it back together again.
It's just gimmicks, you know?
Yeah, it's like why?
As well as
if it was radio controlled, yeah, fair enough.
Also, the spring-loaded barrels, I don't like those either.
No, I always admit it gives an opportunity for people that don't know models to play with your stuff.
Well, this is an injection plastic model. Comes with the engine, transmission, and turret interior is included. Photo etch is included. Tracks are Lincoln length. And as Julian said, it's a completely new tool. So it'll be interesting to see how that one builds out when it's released. And I'll be keeping my eyes open to see how it looks built and completed.
Can you just scroll up a little bit?
Sure.
So that's really good. If you go back down a little bit. Yep. So if you look at the back of the in the sprues, and you can see the upper hull on the left.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And so the whole rear deck is covered by one piece that you could, opt to not glue in and be able to show the entire engine and transmission all on the back there.
Okay. So does that make you happy as a T-35 builder, does it?
Well, I mean, like, one of the benefits of this kit is the fact that it's got a full interior, right?
Yep.
So if you have that interior, you either don't build it because it's a waste of time, or you build it and you paint it and then you have to show it off somehow.
Yep, true. Yeah. Okay.
It's not like because this is one of the things about like the differences between armor and aircraft. Like for a long time with aircraft, people have been trying to put detail sets into their planes so they can show off engines and fuel tanks and landing gear base. And then they've started to sort of do this with armor kits.
Yeah.
But then that kind of defeats the purpose of it being armor, because the more open things that are on it, generally the more bullets will go in there.
Yes.
All right. 2 new figures from how do you
Razvedchik.
Thank you, Ian. From Rado Miniatures. I've got no idea what these are.
They're Russian figures.
2 new Russian scouts. That's what they Razvedchik. World War II era. Figures painted up, images that inspire the sculptors. I'm just trying to find the scale so we can tell
135th.
135th scale, do you think?
I'd say so.
Yeah. I'm just not seeing... Oh, here we go. High quality resin. geez, Ian, you've got right in the money. 1/35th scale, and I'm sure that appeal to some
They are
of the
very detailed.
Very nice figures, yes.
Yeah. You know,
Definitely
I'd
nice.
like to tackle doing a figure one day, but again, my painting skills sort of just let me down.
Practice, Dave. Practice.
Yeah, I know. And Alpine have announced construction, or beg your pardon, a miniature 1/35th scale WSS machine gun team at Kharkov.
Wicking SS.
These guys really do detailed figures.
Alpine do some marvellous work.
So there's 2 singles, which means there's 1 pair in the set.
Yeah, you can buy either the twins,
Yep.
like the 2 figures in the
Or
one
you can
box
buy them
set, or you can
individually.
buy them individually.
Right. So you can buy the machine gunner at Kharkov, or you can buy the ammo, the trooper who's carrying the ammo, or as in set the whole thing in double set. So again, that looks absolutely brilliant. And as I said, the details even more better than the other one we're just looking at.
I just like the casual sort of appearance to them. Yeah.
Alpine really nails that.
Yeah, they got like one guy's got like the MG42 over the shoulder, and the other guy's carrying the ammo
with a slight lean to him, so just sort of leaning slightly. Oh, that's pretty cool. All right, well that's all I've got for what's new. About you guys, you got anything? Any new stuff?
No, I haven't seen anything new.
No, I mean, I usually don't have much to add to this sort of portion. And not much has changed.
I think Airfix has just released the 48 scale Blenheim, which looks marvellous.
Oh, okay. Yep.
That's a nice looking kit.
Airfix
is doing some really nice work these days.
Except they're not doing the aircraft carrier, so I'm still crying over. And I know, what's my podcast, so I'm going to bleat about it again.
Yeah, go for it.
There's no HMS Queen Elizabeth being done so far.
But they're bringing out a 124 scale F6F/3 Hellcat.
Yes, oh my goodness. Anyway, I'll just leave that subject alone.
In case someone missed that.
Yeah, I'll leave that subject alone. All right, guys, have a quick break, and we'll come back and have a chat about what are we going to talk about? Oh, sorry, we're talking about modelling and how it's helping veterans who've got PTSD.
Yep.
So excellent. Back shortly. Okay, and we're back, and we're going to have a bit of a chat about how modelling can actually help people who not only have PTSD, but certainly even other people who are suffering from particular issues, and just how well the modelling, the hobby of modelling, can sort of help you along. What kicked off this idea, or have this discussion, was, and for those of you who follow us on Facebook, the BBC released a short sort of clip, and actually before I go any further, I might just play that so we can have a listen and we can sort of move forward from there.
It's not all about sniffing glue and bending plastic. It helps keep those demons at bay.
I know that probably sounds a bit American, but it's my little armour-proof vest.
As soon as someone sits down and starts to get engaged with the model and start putting the parts together, they'll be looking down, they'll be concentrating, and it's amazing that the things that people will open up about, within an hour or two, people are much more relaxed than they were when they came in.
I was involved in an IED incident in Afghan in 2009. Basically, I shattered my left leg and foot. It took quite a while to adjust, and then the mental side of it started to creep up on me. The little black dog that always sits next to you, which is your PTSD, it kind of keeps it tame.
I just started struggling at nights with sobbing, quite intense sobbing. My psychiatrist had said I needed to start focusing on something, and I could focus on the model, and we can have a bit of comedy banter with people, and go away feeling, just feeling refreshed, really.
The thing about modelers is they will buy more kits than they can possibly make in their lifetime. So people are usually quite happy to give away their kits that they're not going to have time to build, or they don't want to build anymore.
I can sit with people who aren't going to judge me, and certainly nobody judges me on my modelling skills. Everybody just encourages. And at the same time, you're left with something that you can look at and people can admire.
So I just thought that was just so interesting. I thought that we need to sort of talk about it and sort of even go so far as to promote that particular charity organisation. But I'm going to take a step back and sort of expose myself a little bit here, I guess, is that my line of work is, it's quite stressful. And I find that for me, modelling is just a way for me just to zone out and get in the moment of the zen and just plug away. And for me, it's a huge release from any sort of, not work pressures or even life pressures. It's just a way for me to sit down and just bang, leave the world behind and because
you're focused on only one thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I thought it was just really amazing the way these guys who are suffering from, coming back, the veterans who are coming back and suffering from PTSD are finding modelling as just a great release for them, or somewhere where they can go and find like-minded folk who are quite happy just to talk about the hobby. And I think it's an amazing sort of initiative.
Yeah,
I really do.
I do know they do it in America as well.
Now, they do it in America, and we'll talk about shortly, because the American one's been going a lot longer.
Yep.
And that started off with the Gulf War, and some of the guys over there in the US got together and would send kits across to the troops overseas for them to build in their downtime overseas. And I'll give the links for both the UK one and also the American one, where you can sort of send your kits to if you want to sort of help or even just donate to the charities. But what a marvellous idea.
Oh, it's fantastic. It should be done more often.
It should. And it just amazes me, and I've never sort of thought of it. I mean, as how modelling can sort of assist and help, other things. And I'm wondering whether you can extend it even to kids who are sort of, struggling with their own sort of life, troubled kids and that type of thing. Whether there's an avenue for that to actually be somewhere where our hobby can be applied. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, very possible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Possible,
I think there's something that's severely lacking in a lot of people these days is a hobby.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something that they can get into. Because these days, like a lot of younger people are very focused on their careers and their relationships and things, but they don't really take time out for
themselves
and something to take their mind off their responsibilities in life.
And life is a lot busier now than what it was when Ian and I were growing up. That's for sure, isn't it?
Definitely.
And I think modelling sort of forces you to slow down and just, concentrate on what you're doing at that bit of time.
Exactly, Dave. Yeah.
You've got no distractions. I mean, you might have a radio playing in the background. You might have this podcast playing in the background, but it sort of forces you just to take a breath and just slow down. And if you
lose yourself.
Yeah.
You lose yourself, and before you know it, 4 or 5 hours have passed.
Yep, exactly right. And there's other sort of, obviously, this particular charity over in the UK, they do it in such a way where you get a group of guys together. And I know in our modelling club, we have on our meeting nights, we can bring our models and sort of sit there and just sort of, yak and build at the same time. And it's a great way of having fellowship, I think. And
it's a boys' club.
Yeah,
it is. Well, I was going to say exactly that.
It's
It's very much a boys' club.
A boys' club, yeah.
And
not to say that women aren't welcome.
Yeah.
No, of course
but
not.
you just don't find as many women modellers out there.
But also it's a safe place too, I think. And I think that's what modelling clubs should strive to be, as a safe place.
You can't just go out to a normal circle of friends and just sit there and talk models all night.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to get bored and tune out.
But not just the models. You can talk about the history behind a particular thing. You can have great discussions and arguments with your fellow modelers about,
hints and tips.
This this particular aircraft is better than that particular aircraft. But you can have a discussion like that, and it's not a heated debate.
Yeah.
Or someone's not going to sort of lose their temper and go storming off. It's a really safe place where you can.
And as opposed to say like the forums where a lot, because obviously this
and that's we're going to touch on that later on about being a gentleman modeler.
Right, yeah, okay. But as an aside from like forums and stuff, which is like the online version of a model club, right? The difference being that whereas online, there's no tone. You can get frustrated with other people because you can't read into their intentions. You can only see the cold harshness of their words.
Yep.
Whereas in person, you can sort of save a conversation from going down the wrong path by sort of going, oh no, sorry, I didn't mean that. I meant this. And you can read other people. You can see that there's a lot that comes with face-to-face interaction that you can't get from online. Like I can honestly say that in the 2 to 3 years that I've been with our club, I have learnt more about models and all the subjects involved in them than I could have learnt in, like, say, 7 years just reading online.
Yep.
Because all it takes is like one person to interject in a conversation right there and then you've learned something that you wouldn't have otherwise have bothered to Google up.
Exactly.
Yep. Well, so if any of you out there are interested in contributing or helping with these particular organisations, so the charity out in the UK is called Models for Heroes. The address is www. And this is one word, modelsforheroes.co.uk. So just go along and have a look at that website. You can donate. It'll give you some advice even about how to perhaps start up one of those clubs or one of those in your own area. In the US, through the International Plastic Models Society USA.
IPMS?
Yep. Correct.
They've got a, if you go to their website, which is www.ipmsusa.org, there's a little, across the top, there's a drop-down called Outreach. And IPMS USA runs a Support the Troops initiative, which is an initiative was established to provide model kits and supplies, reference materials to servicemen and women who are serving in combat zones, recovering hospitals and rehabilitating in specialised facilities. They tell you all about who the point of contact is, and there's an email there, modelsfortroops@gmail.com, which you can send your email to and get interested in helping and assisting if you've got any sort of spare kits or anything like that. So, once again, both extremely worthy charities. I'm not aware of anything in Europe or in Canada, but I'm probably sure there is.
Or Australia.
Or Australia, for that matter, yeah.
The language barrier would also prevent us from hearing about those sort of things unless one of our listeners wants to get in contact with us and let us know what's going on in those part of the worlds.
Absolutely. Both worthy organisations.
Definitely. There should be more of them.
Yep.
These guys put their lives on the line for our safety, so...
Absolutely. So... with that in mind, I now want to roll into a bit of a discussion about the gentleman modeler. And this has really come about by... modeling's really been transformed by multimedia. There's no two ways about it.
Yeah.
The internet.
So it started off with forums where we were able to, back in the early 2000s.
Oh, before that, magazines.
Yeah, but you didn't... The only way you could interact with the magazine was by writing a letter in and the editor would publish it. Now it's more with forums or online and you can interact immediately, get immediate interaction. Facebook now, there's a lot of modelling stuff on Facebook now, which definitely seems to the point where even forums, I think, is slowly starting to sort of wither on the vine a bit because I don't know what it is. But
well, money for the most part. If you have a forum, you need to pay for its upkeep, whereas Facebook, it's free.
It's free.
Yeah, there's that true, but I'm just detecting a bit of downturn in forums now as against sort of on Facebook. But what I'm really driving at is that, and because we're talking online and stuff, there's the ability to be anonymous. And from time to time, some of the Facebook pages I'm on, or indeed some of the forums I've been on in the past as well, you get one or two individuals who sort of pop up and they're
nasty.
Well, that's
pretty plain and simple.
Exactly
They're
right.
Nasty people.
Exactly right. And we as a group, and I'm talking about all models sort of worldwide here, we need to make sure that type of behaviour is not acknowledged and don't give oxygen to that type of thing. And
don't feed the troll.
Yeah, exactly right.
That is a classic internet rule. Yep. Like, I mean, this is coming from someone who's grown up in the internet age. Yep. That is a classic rule that people are starting to forget.
Yeah.
Right? You can't give these people any attention because they thrive on it.
Exactly.
They want you to bite,
Yeah. They just want to They just want to make a name for themselves.
And I must have seen at least a dozen times on different forums and also Facebook over the years where a new person has stepped into the hobby and they're asking for advice, and they get beaten down with this. Oh, geez, you're stupid. Why don't you do?
Yeah.
And that's just not the right attitude for us as models.
Or just Google it. It's like, they've asked a question. You know the answer. Give them the answer.
Yeah, exactly right.
This is a particular sore spot for me because I have been that beginner in recent enough memory, and there are so many bad approaches to these queries.
Yeah.
Not just the really unfriendly modeler who makes fun of someone for being inexperienced, but also people providing misinformation, and even worse than that is the complete ignoring of them. Like, this person's too new, and I don't have the time to give them the information that they require.
Yep.
And all they're doing is pushing someone away from the hobby.
Yep.
And you don't want that. You want to encourage them. We need more people in the hobby.
Absolutely.
More people in the hobby means more people spending money, which means there's a good chance that kit prices will go down.
Well,
Yes.
we'll certainly see new kits coming out. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's not forget that there is always going to be, in any hobby or any interest, there's always going to be that small section of the population, that small percentage, that have an elitist view, right? They want this hobby to be their special thing, and they don't want new people in it.
Yep, they're the king of the hill.
Yeah,
and everyone else is just scum.
Yeah, they've got their own. They've decided they've got their own little kingdom, and they're the rulers of it.
Yep.
Not that anyone else thinks that they're a ruler, but
they're usually just over bloated basement dwellers, really.
Yeah, and I think we've all come across those types of individuals.
I've personally come across a few of them. Yeah, I just ignore them now. I just don't give them, as Julian said, you just don't give them the oxygen. You don't give them the recognition. You just, fine. You want to, and all it does to them, if you don't give them the recognition, everyone else in the community just looks at this person and goes, "You're a fool."
Yep.
And their credibility all of a sudden has just dropped to zero. And after a while, they're going to learn pretty quickly that by doing this, no one's going to interact with me ever again.
Yep.
I also want to take the opportunity to point out that there are other characters that make up the landscape that can also get on your nerves, other than people who are just arrogant or unfriendly or rude or whatever.
Passive aggressive ones.
Well, you've got like the and this is something I really, really like, is the Dunning-Kruger effect. Do you know what this is?
No, fill us in.
So the Dunning-Kruger effect is the kind of is what results in those people who appear on talent shows, where like singing competitions.
Yep.
And they'll be terrible, right? They'll get up there and they'll sing and they'll be terrible, and you'll wonder, are these people doing this for a joke? Do they really think they sound good? They do. And this is basically what this is people who are so poorly skilled that they're unaware of how unskilled they are, and they rate themselves as professionals.
Right.
So occasionally you'll get someone, and they'll talk the talk, and then they'll post their model, for example, and it won't be very good, but they'll talk and argue like they're know-it-alls.
Right.
Now they can get under people's skin very quickly, right? They are unintentional trolls. They don't realize what they're doing.
Yep.
Right? So these are the kind of people who will get under your skin if you allow them to, but you should just give them the space, right?
But on the other side of that, there are people who will, and they're newbies, and they'll post pictures of their models, and there's some really glaring mistakes, but people just say, "Oh yeah, that's great."
What we're doing is encouraging them.
Yeah, but
to encourage them, you're not putting them off. As we all know, the next model you build is slightly better than the last one you built.
Yeah.
So it's a learning curve for these people, and for these people, like as Julian stated earlier, that for example, a newbie comes on and says, "Oh, this is my first kit," and then you get some troll gets on there and goes, "Oh, it looks absolutely garbage."
Yeah, that's
give up,
terrible.
Take up knitting, and it's like all you're doing is crushing this person.
Mm-hmm.
They're just going to go, "Well, what's the point of this?"
But if
we're going to lose someone from the hobby, rather than basically say, "Yeah, this is for a first effort. Yeah, you did all right."
Yes, exactly.
But if that person is posting looking for ways to improve what he's done, just saying, "Oh yeah, that's great, mate, keep going," That's not going to give him the feedback that he needs.
Right. You just
so that's where being a gentleman modeler comes in, and encouraging the person, saying, look, great efforts. Here, if you don't mind, I've got a couple of tips for you to improve these particular areas.
Yes.
Your canopy, for example, instead of using plastic glue, use white glue so you don't get frost on the canopy. That type, that type of information would be most welcomed by somebody.
Well, see, this comes down to some of the sort of more nuanced sort of skills that come with encouraging people, right? So one of the things you can do is you can highlight the things that they did right, and on the other hand, you tell them the things that they can improve upon.
Yeah.
Right.
And you always give them a solution.
Yep. And this is something that adults will do with children, right? Like, I mean, that may sound like I'm being, doing it, saying it in a very nasty way. No, I'm not doing it like that. This is something that people, us as adults, will unconsciously do with children. When you talk to children, you'll never talk in goo goo gaga language like they do.
No,
you'll talk to them and you won't use like really extravagant language and really articulate language with them either. You'll talk to them in a way that's just beyond their reach to encourage them to improve.
Right. Yep.
Right. So this is an important part. I mean, like, we know this. We sort of do this on autopilot, right? But when you talk to adults, it's different. It's gone, right?
Yeah,
you assume that they're on the same wavelength as you,
Yep.
because they're adults too. But they're not necessarily on the when you talk about the skill level of making kits. So you want to say, okay, well, this is the things you've done right. You've got some great construction skills. Maybe your paintwork could use a bit of improvement here and there.
Yeah.
Why not try this? Why not try that? Broaden your skill set. Look at all these cool things that you can go after and explore.
Yes, totally agree.
I was going to use the term rivet counter because sometimes rivet counter is a derivative term.
Or derogatory term,
derogatory term, yeah.
For someone who wants their kit to look
No.
Nitpickers.
Yeah. And sometimes we call them, rivet counters. But, rivet counters can be... Well, I classify you in as a rivet counter, and I mean it in a nice way. But sometimes rivet counters come along and go, "Oh no, in that particular year, this bolt was over in this particular section, and this was a correct color."
And now the kit has a fatal flaw.
Yeah.
Don't buy it.
Exactly right. So there's, I guess there's good rivet counters out there, and there's a very small selection of bad rivet counters out there. But it's a case of if you classify yourself as a rivet counter, that's fine, no worries. But when you impart your knowledge or if you're trying to get your point across, do it in a way that you consider the other person's feelings and do it in such a way that you would want them to talk to you about some perhaps issues
and realise occasionally you can be wrong.
Yeah, well, that's true too.
Yes,
you can be wrong. Like, I'm the first to say, look, I don't know everything.
Yep.
I've never said I know everything. I'm willing. I always learn.
Yep.
Every kit I built, I learned something new.
Yep.
Even the fussies of rivet counters will be wrong.
Yep.
I mean, like, how many revisions have we found on, paint colors and things like, all it takes is for someone to post up a photo of they found in their grandfather's collection, and suddenly it turns the entire world on its head.
Upside down, yeah.
But you can only ever make the most accurate model for the time that you made it.
Yes.
Right? And you can just leave it like that, and then if it stays that way, then that's good. But if things change and more information comes to light,
back in the 80s when people were building the I think it was the early 80s, they were building the Focke-Wulf D11s and D13s from JV44, ones that had the striped undersurface colours, and everyone swore they were black and white.
Yeah.
Until 4 photos came out, and they were colour photos, and that's when everyone realised that the underside colours was red with white stripes.
Yep.
And now it's come out that maybe one of them may have even been yellow.
Yeah.
With white stripes.
Well, that's news to me.
It's all this information, and every day there's new information coming out.
Well, do you remember we were talking to Wingnut Wings? We were talking to I've forgotten his name now.
Richard Alexander.
Thank you, Richard. And he was saying even now they're getting glass plates, pictures that are coming to light. Even nowadays, that are showing differences in the actual aircraft, and they've actually gone through the manufacturing process before they knew about this. So the things that are being unearthed even now, they go back to like the First War. It's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think it's if you happen to be a rivet counter, self-described, and you're listening to this podcast, you should probably put a little disclaimer at the end of every post you make on the internet saying this is as far as we know.
Yeah.
Because it can always change.
Yeah, and if I was critiquing somebody, I'd even go so far as to offer them to do a private message to me so I can have a conversation offline and perhaps discuss, some things with them directly.
Because I can see it can be quite humiliating for some people.
Oh, it'd be shattering.
They pour their heart and soul into a bill.
Yep.
Only to have a few people just turn around and shoot them down.
Yep. It'd be gutted,
and it'd be like, well, what's the point of doing this?
Yeah.
I'm no good at this. Everyone's telling me I'm no good.
Yep.
I think I'll take up knitting.
Yep.
At the other end of the spectrum, you've also got the people who, will post something up and they want an honest opinion, and all they do is get showered with praise.
Yeah, we said that earlier. It's not achieving anything. You've got to, if they're asking for, assistance, you've got to give them what they're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, like there is a quite a large middle ground.
Yeah.
You don't need to go to the extremes.
Yep.
I think it all boils down to is be polite.
Be polite.
If we all operate as a gentleman modeller, then hopefully, and not give the trolls oxygen.
Yep.
The world's going to be a better place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
And join a model club.
Yeah.
Have some social interaction. Helps a lot. A lot.
And you know what? The first model club you join might not be the one for you. There are.
I can definitely say that. I was lucky. I was so lucky joining our club.
Yep.
I've heard some horror stories about all these various clubs around the world, and all the various power struggles and
politics, club politics,
and then the number of tiffs people have had from bad interactions and misunderstandings.
Well, that raises the next thing too. You just triggered something. If you're actually a member of a club and somebody walks through the door for the first time, treat them like a long lost brother and say, hey, and really make them feel welcome.
Yeah.
Not just stand over in the corner like a shag on a rock.
Oh,
bring them in. And
I've seen that happen a few times.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help.
No.
Someone new comes in, introduce yourself,
Yep.
and just start talking about the hobby, and ask them what their interest is, and then engage them in that interest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I've actually met quite a few modelers who are either of the opinion, oh yeah, model clubs aren't for me. I tried going to one and it wasn't the kind of the social environment, or the people weren't kind of thing I was looking for, or I didn't like this.
That's disappointing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and you kind of want to go, oh, geez, come to our club. You'll enjoy yourself. We'll make you feel at home.
You get some clubs where it's just very meeting orientated.
Very
They
sterile.
sit down, very sterile. You have your minutes.
Yeah.
Everyone has the talking stick.
Could
They
somebody
pass around the talking stick so they can say their 5 minutes. I've got to say, with DSMC, our club in Dandenong, it's the total opposite. You walk in, you chuck your stuff on the table, and the rest of the time it's just spent talking or building, as Julian does. There's a table set aside where a group of people can just sit there and just build models.
Yep.
It is the most casual setup I've ever seen.
Yep.
And it works.
Yeah, it does.
It works really
but
well.
I will say also, it's not for everyone.
No,
because
some people like their regimented meetings.
Yes, and also it can be perceived by the new person as being difficult to break into cliques.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more sterile style club can appeal to some new people in that it gives them a turn to speak when they otherwise would find it difficult to get a word in edgeways.
So back to my original point, the first club you go to might not be the club for you.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
Have a look around.
Yep.
Absolutely.
But joining clubs, it's definitely one of the better things to do for a modeler.
Cool.
Totally agree.
All right, so everybody strive to be a gentleman modeler.
Yes.
And the modelling world will be a better place for it.
Yes.
Yep.
And keep the internet etiquette in mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, guys, I think that's about it for this episode. You got any other sort of pearls of wisdom you want to cast, or just want to sign off and head home?
Me? I'm going to spend the rest of the weekend on the bench.
Good on you.
Yep. Just planning on doing modelling.
Yeah, it's a Shikaku?
Shikaku, yes.
Rightio, okay.
The time's ticking down. and I never ended up getting that photo etch sheet.
Oh, that's a shame.
So
that's gone.
Unfortunately, someone's going to get a nasty, eBay response.
They're going to get the response that they require, the rating they require.
Pretty much 0.00000. Where's my bit? I paid nearly $100 for this set, and you never showed up.
Gee, that's a big hole in the pocket.
And it's too late to try and order another one. I don't want to throw another $100 at this kit.
No.
I've already gone over $800. God's sakes. So, and time's running out, so I've got so much work still ahead of me.
What about you, Julian?
No, I mean, being the youngest person here, I should theoretically have the least amount of wisdom to impart. So I've spent my wisdom.
Never underestimate the wisdom of youth.
Very true. All right, guys, I think we'll call that quits. Been a great episode. Looking forward to catching up with you guys again in the fortnight. And for those of you listening, we welcome your feedback. Thanks to you writing in and letting us know when we sort of do things wrong. I'm more than happy to take that on board.
Yep.
So if you want to contact us, you can contact us via email at onthebench64@gmail.com. Or you can go to our Facebook page. So just type in On The Bench on Facebook and you'll find us and you can join us there, and we look forward to your comments.
Yeah, and post photos of your models.
Absolutely. Yep. So sign off from Ian.
Goodbye, everyone.
Julian.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys. Thanks very much. Bye. And just one last thing before we go. Just a quick reminder to pop over and have a listen to the Scale Model podcast from our Canadian friends. Scale Model Podcast is available on iTunes and all good podcast apps, run by Stuart Clark. Great little show to listen to, and their show usually comes out in our off week, so you get a good dose of modelling once a week by listening to both On The Bench and also Stuart Clark's Scale Model Podcast. To find out more information, you can go to Facebook and just put in the search engine Facebook Scale Model Podcast and it'll pop up, or go to scalemodelpodcast1word.com and that'll take you to the show as well. Thanks very much for listening. Back in a fortnight.